Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Monday Night Swarm team call that you guys are now on. And I just want to say welcome. Tonight is Monday, May 19th, 2014. And here we are a month away from Summit, which is out in Las Vegas, Nevada in June coming up. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first of all, I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy week. I know that you guys are busy with families and busy with jobs. And for many of you, Beachbodies, what you do part-time, on the side. And I know that every Monday night we spend about 45 minutes together recapping the week, talking about, events that are coming up, giving some recognition to the team and doing our thing. I don't want to assume that everybody knows who I am. And so I just want to introduce myself to you. My name is Tommy Migrant, and it was, April of 2008. So 6 years ago, plus 1 month now, that we started this team back in April of 2008. We're now at 3,000 coaches across the nation and Canada, and couldn't be more excited. I've been blessed to be a Beachbody coach and started out part-time like many of you. Didn't really have a vision for it other than to make a couple $100 a month and pay for my fitness habit. And then along the way, decided to get a little more serious about it, which is something we're going to talk about tonight, actually, is sort of having a non-negotiable mentality, and that's going to be the topic that we cover tonight. But here we are. 6 years in, we've got some amazing people from around the country, some of the top performers in the entire network coming out of this team right now. And just wanted to thank you guys for all the hard work that you're doing in this mission to help other people achieve their goals. And so what we do every Monday night is this. I say, if you want to catch fire, get close to the heat. Our heat happens to be on this Monday night call and in the Swarm Cave team page, which is where our team hangs out on Facebook. So we've got the Facebook page. We've got the Monday Night Swarm calls. If any of you want to go back to some of the archive calls, about 3 months ago, we went to the Zoom video meeting chat. So we have a YouTube channel for all of those calls that have been recorded on Zoom. We have previous calls that were on conference calls without the video, but the YouTubes are located on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/swarm calls, if you ever want to get the recordings, typically we have the recordings up Tuesday at some point. I have to transfer them to Nicola. She gets to put on YouTube sometime on Tuesday. So typically by Tuesday evening, tonight's call, the Monday calls will be up the next day, so within a 24-hour period, onto that YouTube channel. And you guys can always go back anytime you feel a need to go back and search through the topics and listen to something. You can always do that. And we spend about the first 10 or 15 minutes talking about events, talking about recognition, and then about 25 to 35 minutes covering a topic or giving you some training or having a guest speaker. Tonight, I was inspired by a conversation that I had with Greg Bird during his bachelor party this weekend, and I'm using something as an example to just kind of compare it to coaching and what some of the non-negotiables as far as coaching should be if you're thinking about doing this seriously. So it's going to be a great topic. I'm really excited about it. And so let's get started with events. As you guys know, Summit is coming up in 1 month. We have just over 100 Swarm coaches that are now registered for the Summit. And it's not too late for you guys to get tickets. There's plenty of people out there that are trying to ditch out on their their 575 packs where you get 2 tickets in a room for 3 days. And, I would just try to make it happen. If you're brand new and you're not sure what it is, it's our national convention. There's going to be about 8,000 Beachbody coaches out in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM. There's going to be live workouts and trainings and just a ton of fun for whoever decides to go. I recommend that you guys get there. The week after Summit is going to be Super Saturday, which is going to be around the nation. And so some of those Super Saturdays are now starting to show up as registered in the online office. I'm going to personally be attending one in Cleveland, Ohio, that's going to be hosted by Joe Gonzalez and Tina Gonzalez and Mark Klanik. So I'm not going to be traveling. So sorry, Michelle Mackey. I've decided to stay home with the team. And I know you want to smack me right now because I told you I might come to Virginia, but it's time for me to stay home and just be around our people. Since the last 6 months, I haven't done that. So first steps to success. So Danny Johnson, who many of us use as an outside trainer, a life trainer, she is going to be hosting a First Steps to Success event in San Antonio, Texas. Now, many of us are going to be attending Dynasty, which is, there's a graduate program. There's First Steps to Success. And if you graduate from First Steps to Success, you can graduate and then attend Dynasty, which is really just amazing leadership training, life training, business training at Dynasty. So there's going to be several of us attending Dynasty in Atlanta this upcoming weekend. So I'm going to be leaving tomorrow for Santa Monica to film some new 5 steps training for the company. You're going to be seeing that in the Super Saturday video and also in the Coach Training Academy. So be looking out for that. But then we'll be going out to Atlanta, meeting up with some Swarm coaches and some network coaches there for the Dynasty event. But first steps to success will be in mid-July. I believe it's July 13th weekend in San Antonio, Texas. We personally we can get up to like 10 or 20% off of tickets for first timers. If you've graduated, we can get you a graduate rate. All you got to do is get a hold of me or Nicola Shiflett, who is our Swarm assistant, and she would be more than happy to help you get set up for that 20% off ticket for Danny Johnson. I do want to announce we are in the final week or two of our current Coach Basics and Ramp. Now, we have several leaders that run Coach Basics. And then we also have we have Coach Basics, which is for new coaches. So if you're a new coach and you have not been through a Coach Basics training, or if you're a longtime coach and you're not quite sure and you haven't been through the most recent Coach Basics training and you want to get enrolled for that, we're going to be announcing that. It's going to be starting the first Monday of June. And we're also going to be starting a new RAMP group because we'll be finishing up this current RAMP group by the end of the month. So RAMP is Rank Advancement Mentorship Program. And Basics anybody can get into. It's basic training. You're going to learn about challenge groups and the 5 steps and getting Success Club and Emerald and all of those things. It's a 6-week program. There's about 10 minutes of assignments every day, and we do a once-a-week training, typically on, I believe, on Tuesday nights for Basics. And then with RAMP, it's actually just more training on team building and people skills that we focus on, and our rampers tend to do a lot. In fact, when I read the success list every week, I see people that have went through both Basics and RAMP. In order to get into RAMP, at least the ramps that I run, we kind of co-host with several leaders, you need to be an Emerald coach by the end of this month. You also need to be in Success Club. We're going to make the requirement for the month of May. So not 6 months ago, but you have to be in Success Club this month in May in order to qualify for RAMP that starts next month. And so that is a program that people would knock over doors to get into, to be honest with you. And so you want to get into that. If you've been through Basics and you're an Emerald coach and you're in Success Club, then you can then qualify for that RAMP program. That's also going to be starting the first week. So we're going to be taking applications starting this week. So if you'd like to get on that list, what we'll do is we'll post something in the Swarm Cave as far as how you can apply and where you send some information to, and we'll give you a questionnaire and you can fill that out, and then we'll review those questionnaires, and then by the end of the month we'll notify the people who participated. We're only going to allow for this round of RAMP 18 people. I'm only doing 3 groups of 6, so 18. We've been letting in 32. 32 is quite a bit. We're going to narrow that down to 18 only because I'm going to be doing some private training myself with Danny Johnson, and so that's going to limit me to doing one less call, so I got to give something up. So 18 of you would qualify for RAMP or your people. So leaders, if you have people and you want to reach out to them that might want to qualify for RAMP or Basics, make sure that you're putting people in the group. If you're a new coach and you have new coaches, you want to get them in Coach Basics, you can put them in Coach Basics. That's fine. So let's look at some recognition. Top team builders for the week. So these are the people who enroll 2 or more coaches for the week. So this is for a 7-day period. If I'm rubbing my eyes, it's because I have new contacts in. So I'm not sick or anything. I'm just like, contacts. 2 or more coaches for the week. Sarah Stevens, Kiana Crawford, who's currently in RAMP. Katie Blue, I had 2 coaches this week. Lindsay McGuire, Christy Schrader Piercy, which is a brand new name. I had never seen that name before, so awesome, Christy. Holly Damon, Emily Henderson, Sarah Morrison, and Kevin McGuire, all with 2 or more coaches in the last week. Success Club so far for the month. So listen, we report the names that are self-reported in the Swarm Cave document when it comes to Success Club. With a team of 3,000 people, it's impossible for us to check all of the Success Clubbers for the entire team. And so anyone who self-reports or reports their team will have their names read on the Monday Night Call. In Success Club 5 for the month, Nikki Rusko, Beth Lowe, Michelle Moore, Liz Bellini, Ashley Malone, Amanda Goff, Francesca Cunningham, Joe Gonzalez, Scotty Birchfield, Tina Osborne, Holly Damon, and then I personally am currently at 9 points. Kathy Kandera in Success Club 10 with 10 points. With 12 points, Danielle Barrera, 14 points, Brent Bauer, and Sarah Stevens. Awesome. And I believe all of them, I think, made the studs party for the summit. So they're all the duds and studs, or studs and what's it called? Yeah, the studs party. Sequins and studs. That's what it's called. Sequins and studs. I'm screwing that up. 16 points. Lindsey McGuire and Tina Gonzalez both at 16, and then leading the pack for, I believe, the 6th or 7th straight month so far. Sarah Mihailo at the top of the pack with she has 7 new coaches for the month and 26 points for the month, which is super awesome. Let's look at the top volume exploders for the week. So how we recognize volume is this. It goes by your team volume, which may be a little bit different than your personal volume. So there's some things that can vary. Like if you enroll a new challenge pack, you might see 135 volume for you, but the team sees 45 volume for a new challenge pack. And so the points may be different than what you see. So what I do is go down through the list. I look for people that have 500 or more volume for the week as far as team volume goes, and then we read those names. So in the Swarm 500, Jason Delancey, Bianca Perez, and Dan Smith. In the Swarm 600, Tina Osborne, Julie Cottrell, and Lori Bolden, Marissa Cunningham, Natalie Plusia. And in the 700, Angela Zapian and Liz Bellini, and then I was at 905 for the week. So that rounds out the top volume exploders for last week. So congratulations to all of you who are doing great. And so anytime, when we give recognition, I always think that it's really the people who have just kind of set some goals for themselves and really are out there serving the mission. They're doing the do. They're building their groups. They're upgrading people to coaches. They're getting coaching in front of people. They're actually participating in the mission to spread the word of what we have to offer to people. And many of them have made things, non-negotiable. And so I'm always looking for, just some ideas of what we can talk about on Monday nights. And so what's funny is this topic kind of came up a couple of times. So I hope that during the course of the week, and I hope that you guys have, a pen and paper. I don't know what I'm going to say tonight. I just have a few bullet points. And so I don't know how long this is going to be, but I do think that there's going to be some value in it, and you're going to be able to identify some things maybe in your mental thinking that are either making or breaking you. Or you might be able to identify some things in how the people who are having more success are thinking, and maybe how their thinking has allowed them to gain more success than maybe what you currently are. Or maybe it'll help you identify the people that you've brought in and maybe where you can help mentor them a little bit in how they're thinking and how they're approaching things. And so I want you to have a pen and paper. I don't know what I say tonight that might relate to you, but I want you to think in those categories of both yourself and other people and how this applies what we're going to cover tonight. So where I came up with this topic was this. So many of you know who Greg Bird is. He's one of our longtime Swarm leaders. He's getting married to Stacy Hanna, who's another longtime Swarm leader. They met through being Beachbody coaches on our team, which is super awesome. And they're getting married in July, and I have the honor of being his best man in his wedding. And so we took a little boys trip down to Bourbon Country in Louisville, Kentucky this weekend. And so we're sitting around playing poker, and somehow the topic of Navy SEALs came up, and I heard this story come out of I believe it was Greg's mouth. I think that, and I'm Stacy's best man too. You're right, I am. So I knew Stacy before Greg, and I'm super excited that they're getting married, and I'm honored to be in the wedding. But so we're sitting around the poker table, and we're talking about things that guys talk about, right? And so the topic of Navy SEALs come up, and just how grueling Navy SEAL training is, and I believe it was Greg Bird. I don't know. This was after a couple of bourbons because we were on the Bourbon Trail in Louisville. But Greg, I believe, shares with us, a story about the Navy SEALs. And he shares a story about this guy who was dead set on becoming a Navy SEAL to the point where he would give his life in order to become a Navy SEAL. That in the Navy SEALs, in their training, they actually try to talk you into, and they make it okay for you to do something called ring the bell, which means at any point in time that you think things are too difficult, that you think that you just can't handle it, whatever that assignment is, and you want to ring the bell, you go over and ring the bell 3 times, and you'll be done with the pain, but your hopes of ever becoming a Navy SEAL is over. It's over. And so, but when they get to SEAL training, they let it be known that there's a lot of people that choose to ring the bell, and there's no shame or dishonor in ringing the bell. That this was that this was a grueling thing to go through, and that at any time if someone wanted to do that, that was fine. So there was a particular guy, Greg was sharing the story with us while we sat around this table, who one of his jobs, one of his tasks during Navy SEAL training was to dive in the water and to free dive down, I don't know, 20 feet or however deep it was, 20, 30 feet. And he had to take a big rope and he had to tie 5 knots in this rope before he could come up for air. And in order to do that, it took a long time. So he had to get a breath of air and dive down. And so he got to the 5th knot and he was so determined to tie this knot. And if you didn't tie the knot, you failed. His thought of failing was that he might not be able to become a Navy SEAL. And so he actually dies in the water. He drowns in the water trying to tie this 5th knot. And they bring him up to the surface. They have people there. They bring him up to the surface. They perform CPR on him. He coughs out the water. And he looks up and he's like, did I get the knot tied? Did I get the knot tied? After actually dying in an attempt to do this. And the SEAL director says, no, but you passed the test. And he said, well, how did I pass if I didn't get the knot tied? He said, we're really testing your resolve, and the fact that you were willing to die to see the mission through tells us that you need to be a Navy SEAL. That at no point in time did you decide to come up and ring the bell. And the fact is this. And so this prompted me, hearing this story sort of prompted me to come home today and search ringing the bell, Navy SEALs ringing the bell. And I read several articles, and I posted an article earlier about a guy's thoughts on that. And he talks about how, it really comes down to mindset. That the difference between the guys who ring the bell and the guys who don't is this, that the guys who don't ring the bell, it's never been an option for them to ring the bell. It's not even an option in their mind. They would rather die than to ring the bell. But if a Navy SEAL comes into training in an attempt to become a Navy SEAL, and if in his mind he's ever even considered this, and this was something someone else shared around the table, is this, that if they've ever considered it, if they've walked over towards the bell and looked at the bell and thought about ringing the bell and didn't go through it, virtually 100% of people who had thought about ringing the bell, even if they don't ring the bell in that moment, eventually will ring it down the road before the 6-week training is up, or however long it is, whether it's a week later or 2 days later, because the thought of quitting is already planted in their mind. And because the seed of quitting is planted in their mind, it becomes negotiable in their mind. And so this really got me thinking, about coaches, and about things in my life that I've both succeeded greatly at, even though maybe I should have failed, and things that maybe I gave up on before it was time to give up on them. And virtually in any of one of those cases, the difference in mindset typically was quitting was an option in one case. In another case, it was do or die. It was hell or high water. There was no way in hell that I was going to quit. And so mindset really does play a part, because I want you guys to understand this, and I want you to write this down. Being a Beachbody coach is a long-term deal. This is not a get in for 2 months or 3 months or go crush it for 6 months deal. This is a long-term deal. And the fact is there are going to be times when it sucks. That is just the friggin' truth. There are going to be times when you seem absolutely too busy. There are going to be times when people are saying no. There are going to be times when people are questioning you. They are doubting you. There's going to be times when you question and doubt yourself. And there's going to be times when you ask yourself the question, is this worth it? Virtually every coach is going to go through that. I don't care if you are Lindsay Matway, the top coach of the network for the entire year, or if you're someone like me who's won the leadership award for the entire network, that there's going to be seasons of where, but if quitting is in your mind at all, in those seasons, that's when you're going to give up. Right? That's when you're going to give up. And so many people come in, and it's because of their mindset that eventually they don't make it too far. They don't make it too far. And so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that tonight, because virtually, if you guys are on this call, if you're on this meeting, if you're a coach on this team, or you're somebody who's plugging into this meeting, there's a reason why you came here. There's a reason why, first of all, you said yes to becoming a coach. There's a reason why you did that. Then there was a reason why you thought, I need to learn more about being a coach, whether it was simply you wanted to help more people, whether it was simply for your own accountability and your own fitness and weight loss, or whether it was because you have some financial ambitions and you would like to take something you love and turn it into some kind of income, whether it's a partial income that supplements your household or family, or whether it's a full-time income. But what it reminded me of was Jimmy Nelson posted a video this week too, and he talked about, he goes, in his first 6 months, I mean, he literally maybe made $100 in his first 6 months, right? In his first 6 months. Now he makes several $1,000s a week. So he signed up a year before me, but he now makes several $1,000s a week. It's completely changed his life. But the difference, and he says, when I signed up to be a coach, I thought, why in the hell would I ever not be a coach? I didn't sign up to quit, right? I didn't sign up to quit. I signed up, because I wanted to be part of something, and I was getting something personally out of it. Even if I wasn't making money, I was getting the fulfillment of a great social life with incredible people who are driven, passionate, and all of those things. And I knew that I was a better person for being a coach, whether or not I even made money, right? And so the option to quit coaching never crossed my mind. And so I want you to write this down. Here's where it becomes important. And this is where a lot of coaches miss the mark. And this is where a lot of coaches who have had great success, and I've been in both groups, great success and then struggling. I've been in both. And typically, and what I notice about myself and about others is this, that their list of non-negotiables. Okay, so here's the first thing is this, that most of you don't have a mental or a written list of non-negotiable items when it comes to coaching it. And you need to have your list of what is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Okay, and that there's a difference in non-negotiables versus for a social coach or a discount coach, someone who's just a social coach, someone who's maybe a part-time coach or a seasonal coach, comes in and out, and someone who is like in it to win it. The difference is that the in it to win it people have non-negotiables that they're unwilling to break on. And so I want to give you just a list of areas where I think it's important for you to determine, one, whether or not it should be a non-negotiable for you. These are areas that are non-negotiables for me personally, okay? Should it be a non-negotiable for you, and at what level? And are you living up to setting that non-negotiable? Are you actually following through with that mentally and emotionally becoming a non-negotiable? And so the first area, number one, area of non-negotiable areas that coaches should be focused on, where there should be, when I think of non-negotiable, okay, I think of this. I would rather die than to get beat in this area. I would rather die than to not make it, right? To beat me, you'd have to kill me. It's that kind of mentality. Just like the Navy SEAL who died and drowned trying to tie the fifth knot. And the first area is this, okay? Your first area is this, your own fitness and nutrition. Your own fitness and nutrition. And I got to tell you, and I've had times in my life, in my career, I've been a coach, and I've been a Beachbody customer for 7 years. I've been a coach for 6. And I've had times when my own fitness and my own nutrition was a non-negotiable, which meant that it was going to be a priority in my life, and that I was going to live a healthy, active lifestyle, and I was going to be eat a healthy, nutritional, okay, type of lifestyle, and that I was going to live for what I advocated. I was going to live out exactly what I advocated. And so I look at it like this. We are all advocates of healthy, active living on both fitness and nutrition. That's really what we do. We advocate healthy living and healthier habits. It doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. So, in my mind, I have to have a non-negotiable of don't try to be perfect. That's a non-negotiable in my head. I have to allow myself to not be perfect, but I have to be on top of it. So here's the thing, your own fitness and nutrition. and typically when you are struggling, it's because you've allowed it to become negotiable. You've negotiated it in your own mind. So anytime you've had a non-negotiable and it's become an area of struggle, it's because you've allowed in your own mind you've negotiated with yourself and said, well, it's okay because I still do 3 workouts a week and I still eat healthy once a day, right? And who cares if I gained, 4 pounds this month. It's okay, right? Does that make sense? You negotiated. And in negotiating, here's typically what we do is we justify. We begin justifying the reasons why we negotiated are non-negotiable. So anytime you find yourself justifying in your head, here's what that is. That's an evil friggin' liar that's trying to take you off your non-negotiable game. Okay? So anytime you are justifying why you didn't make Success Club, justifying why you didn't enroll a coach, justifying why you didn't show up for the team call, justifying why you didn't get all your workouts in this week, justifying why you didn't follow up with your prospect, right? You've allowed excuses to get in your way, and those excuses have become justifications, and those justifications have bent an area that you previously had set as a non-negotiable. So that first area would be your own fitness and nutrition. The second area would be Success Club. Success Club. Here I am. I'm 7 years in. Listen, the people I recruit this month, the money that I make immediately from them compared to what I make on a weekly basis is not very much. I make several $1,000s a week. So for me to get $50 from a challenge pack is not enticing to me. The idea of earning $50 or $60 from that challenge pack doesn't entice me. But here's what entices me is this, that come hell or high water, I've made the mental choice that I'm going to be in Success Club. Right? And so for 51 straight months now, I've been in Success Club. Or someone like Liz Bellini, who for 28 months, she's now a Success Club legend in Success Club 5. Or someone like Tina Gonzalez takes it to another level, and her non-negotiable is Success Club 10, right? Success Club 10. So here's the thing. Is Success Club a non-negotiable in your mind? Because the thing is this. We tease ourselves when we say, well, you know what? Yeah, I'll go for Success Club. Or, yeah, maybe I'll make Success Club. Or, you know what? Yeah, if I make it, great. If I don't, no big deal. Because here's the thing that I know is this. I want you to write this down. You're either Gator or Gator bait. You're either in or out. Coach Pat Riley, the famous coach of, I believe it was the Lakers, said this, that you're either in or out. There's no such thing as life in between. And so for many of you in an area like Success Club, you've been trying to live in between being in or out. And you've negotiated with yourself. And in negotiating with yourself, you've mentally told yourself that you're Gator. You've mentally told yourself that you're on the hunt. You've mentally told yourself that, but in reality, what you are is Gator bait. That you're setting yourself up for failure because of how you're thinking about it. Versus someone that says, I have to, I must, I will, come hell or high water, I'm going to be in Success Club. I don't care what it takes. You see the difference in thinking? And then what level? So there's some coaches out there, right? There's some, and here's the thing. I had made Success Club 10, and I'm using my own example, both on the good and bad side of this. There was 22 straight months that I made Success Club 10, right? And here's the slippery slope. Here's the slippery friggin' slope. And then I had a month where I allowed myself to only get 8 points. And my streak of Success Club 10 was over. But I had non-negotiated in my head for almost 2 straight years. The non-negotiable for me was Success Club 10. And then I allowed myself to fall short. I could have made Success Club 10 that month, but I said, you know what the hell is one month? What's 1 month? And then all of a sudden, that year, there were 3 months out of the 12, in the next 12 months, 3 that I didn't make Success Club 10. Right? Does that make sense? And so here I am now, the first 2 months of this year, I didn't make it. And then I was like, you know what, Tommy, what the hell are you doing? Why are you negotiating the level at which you set your expectation? When you know you're capable of hitting this mark, why would you ever negotiate yourself down? Right? So listen, maybe your non-negotiable is 5 points. Get really good at hitting those 5 points, and then you renegotiate yourself up. But anytime you find yourself negotiating yourself down, you're on the backward slide. And it's just the truth. It could be your weight. It could be anytime you negotiate yourself in the wrong friggin' direction, guess where you're going? You're going in the wrong friggin' direction. So only you can determine, though. I don't know how busy you're. I don't know where your thinking is, but what I do know is this, that if coaching is something you want to do, if you have any kind of desire to be a coach long-term that actually builds something that is either a part-time income that brings you $1,000 or more a month in, or a full-time income that's bringing you, $5,000 a month or more in, the first non-negotiable has to be Success Club. It has to be Success Club, because here's the thing. If you negotiate, everything you do or don't do duplicates. So ask yourself this. Do you want a team of people who, if they live by the same expectations as you, right, how fast would your team grow? That's the question you got to ask yourself. If my team did what I did this month, would my income grow? If my team did what I did today or this week, would my income grow? If my team set their level of expectation equal to mine, what would that team look like? Would I have everybody in Success Club, or would nobody be in Success Club? Right? Because your team will do that. The fact that I'm talking about non-negotiables today means that it's now in your mind. And the only way I can talk about it is because I've lived it and I understand it. I understand both sides of it. I understand how it takes you backwards. I understand how it helps you improve. Success Club. Number 3, number of monthly coach enrollments. Okay? So there should be a subcategory to Success Club. How many of those points are going to come from new coaches? Right? I think minimally, because once you go through RAMP, you learn the team building, minimally it should be 2 a month. There's not a single person that's on this call that once they learn some very simple skills, they learn how to build a group, they learn how to 5-step, they learn how to introduce and do the 5 steps and all that. There's not a single person that can't take that skill set and find at least 2 new coaches a month. That's my personal belief, okay? All right, is coaches, because coaches team build. But how many number of monthly coach enrollments are you going to get? And I'm not talking about throwing everybody and their brother into the coach box just to say you enroll a coach. I'm talking actual coaches. I'm not talking wholesale coaches. I'm not talking somebody that signs up as a coach but they're actually a customer. I'm talking real friggin' coaches. Coaches who are willing to go through a quick start and will at least try to go help a few people. Will at least make their initial post to start the group. Will at least make a list of a few people to go invite to join them with the challenge pack, right? Real friggin' coaches. What's your number of monthly coach enrollment? And so here's what I discovered in my head is this, that I had negotiated myself down on the number of coaches a month. I used to say 5 coaches a month, and then I went to 2. Because I said, well, what the hell's the difference? I got a team of 3,000 if I only bring in 2. You know what? Bullshit. Sometimes you got to throw the bullshit flag on yourself. I'm throwing the bullshit flag on myself right now, which is why I've been producing more the last 3 months, because I reaffirmed. I went back 3 months ago and said, why am I where I'm at, and I should be further ahead? And the reality was I had negotiated myself down. And so if you're in that category of someone who has either never negotiated up, and so you've stayed at the same level and you've never set a higher, listen. If a high jumper, think about this, a high jumper, okay? So a brand new person goes to high jumps for the first time. They're going to set the bar really low just because they're nervous, right? Which makes perfect sense. And then they clear it. They learn to clear that bar. Then they put it up an inch, right? And they go from, 4'2" to 4'3", okay? Okay, but if you've had the bar set at the same level that you've been easily clearing now for several jumps, don't you think it's time to challenge yourself and set the bar 1 inch higher? Whether that's 1 more coach a month, whether that's 2 more points a month. Expectation. Why does it have to be limited to 5 or 10, right? Why not settle? This is how jumpers get good and eventually set state records and national records and world records, is because they're willing to challenge themselves up. But someone who's jumping, let's say 6 foot, I don't know what grade is in high jumping. I'm not a high jump expert, but let's say somebody's jumping 6 foot. Why would they ever go to the next meet and go back down to 4'3" when they know they're good enough? They know they can do that. Does that make sense? So number of coach enrollments. Number 4 is this, team engagement, which to me includes 3 things. Really, It includes pages and Facebook. It includes team calls, national call, team swarm call. It includes live events. Okay? Minimally, you could at least participate in the pages, right? So we've got so here's the thing. So some coaches go, well, I'm part of the team, I'm going to participate in the pages, but they miss the calls and they miss the live events. So they're getting actually the least amount of value out of participating in pages. There's greater value to calls than there is pages because there's voice and there's face. And then there's the greatest value is live events because that's in person to person, right? And so you have to determine which one are going to be non-negotiables. Now, you know, someone like me, I have not missed the summit, a successful trip, blah, 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 right? Danny events, all that stuff, okay? But team engagement is so vital because here's the reason why. Anytime you become disengaged from the team, whether it's your upline or your downline, you get disengaged from your downline, troubles on the horizon. If you get disengaged from the network and the upline and you don't stay in tune with that, troubles on the horizon. And so team engagement to me is when I hear, you know, personal development, I think that vital behavior is really team engagement because you're going to do what the team does, right? And so team engagement should be a non-negotiable. But are you someone who is like, if I have time, I'll get on the call, right? If I have time, I'll get on the call. That's not non-negotiable. You're in between. And we know that when you're in between, you're going backwards, right? So and then the last thing, number 5 that I put down was rank. Not just getting it, but keeping it. Not just getting it, but keeping it. I remember when I first became a diamond coach. And I thought, so for me, it was unacceptable to not be at least a diamond coach. For me, that was my thing. For some of you, maybe it's emerald, right? It's unacceptable to not at least be an emerald coach and get your free leads. Maybe that's your non-negotiable, that you're willing to stay at emerald or slip backwards. But just like the high jumper, if you're at emerald, why wouldn't you set the bar just one more notch? Why wouldn't you go for diamond, right? You see what I'm saying? It's all about readjusting and negotiating yourself up. That's how you rise up. By negotiating up, just like taking the high jump thing and moving it up an inch and up an inch and up an inch and up an inch. But listen, if you were the brand new person and you looked up at a 6-foot high jump thing, you would go, holy shit, there's no way I can do that. You got to work your way up to that. You can't just look at Tommy Migrant and Tina Gonzalez and, you know, and Lindsay Matway and, you know, whatever leaders you're following, Scotty Hobbs, and expect that you're going to be there in 6 months. I started by just proving I could hit Success Club 5, and then I started going for 10 and all that stuff, okay? But those are the areas of non-negotiables. So that's what I would tell you is this, that it's important that you get good at setting your own non-negotiables. You have to be honest with yourself and do an honest self-assessment on whether or not you've allowed yourself to negotiate down and allowed yourself to justify why you've done that, okay? And then also, where can you negotiate up? And what in those areas, what can you negotiate up? Where can you bump it just a little bit? Bump it just a little bit. Maybe you've been getting 3 people a month. Could you go for 5? If you got better at following up, if you got better at asking for referrals, if you improved yourself in those ways, could you go for 5, right? Because then here's what happens is this. Once we understand the value of non-negotiables, and this is where then the power gets, well, first of all, is with yourself. The second of all is with others, non-negotiables, with your challengers and with your coaches, right? Helping them and being willing to show them where they've negotiated themselves into failure. Because that's what happens is this. You're either negotiating yourself to success or you're negotiating yourself to failure. There is no in between, okay? And so with our coaches, we have to be willing to do the same thing, which is why for RAMP, there's some non-negotiables, which includes team participation, which includes being Emerald, which includes Success Club, that I am unwilling to give my time and expertise in that setting, in that venue, and taking that time and giving it to people who don't qualify. So once you understand the value of non-negotiables, you then can begin setting qualifications of what is non-negotiable in your mind of who you're willing to work with. which now, when you know those non-negotiables of who you're willing to work with, okay, now you're working with people who are of better thinking because they're willing to live up to that standard. You set the expectation for your people. And so many of us have it wrong. Many of us allow our people to set the expectation of us. And you let the tail wag the dog. Doesn't make any friggin' sense. You set the expectation for your people. Okay? Your people will rise to the level of expectation that you set forth for them. But here's the thing. You better set a level of expectation that you yourself are willing to live up to. I could sit here and talk about attending events because I don't miss them. I can sit here and talk about Make It Success Club because I haven't missed it. Right? But whatever level of expectation, the worst thing you can do as a leader is expect more out of your people than you ever do for yourself. In fact, I would tell you this. As a leader, you should expect more from yourself than you ever do from the people that follow you. All right? And I got to listen to my own friggin' poison sometimes. I need to soak that in too. I am not perfect. But there's truth to what I'm saying. And so once you realize there's truth to what I'm saying, guys, listen. It's a mindset thing. It's a mindset thing. How are you thinking about this? What are going to be the non-negotiables for you going forward? Where have you failed to set them? Where have you failed to set them? Where can you set them? And where can you bump them up? What have you allowed yourself to slip backwards on that you can get back to the point? So for me, that's going to be 5 coaches and 10 points. Now here I am. I got 3 coaches and I believe 9 points for the month. So I need 2 more coaches and another point. So for me, it's going to be 10 and 5 when it comes to that. Okay? For me, it's going to be, following the fixed plan on the nutrition side. After a long weekend, where I allowed myself a little bit of alcoholic entertainment on a bachelor party, it's time to get back on track with that, right? So what is your plan going to be? What are you going to be non-negotiable on? And where can you improve? And then how can you get better at setting expectations with other people? If you get better at this area, what you'll find is your performance will increase. And when your performance increases, the performance of your people will increase as well. And isn't that really the long-term run? That's the long-term goal, right? Is to get people performing. If you've been wondering why you want to perform but haven't, maybe you found your answer. Because you've allowed yourself to justify whatever agreement that you've made with yourself as far as negotiating what's acceptable and unacceptable in your performance as a coach and in your performance in life and all of those things. So guys, I appreciate your time. Hopefully you got some value out of this. Would love your comments in the Swarm Cave, and I will talk to you guys later. See you next week.